You're tuned in to the NNW podcast. Fresh takes, big energy, no nonsense. Let's get into it.
Hello again. Welcome to the Never Not Working podcast. As always, I am Will Basko, your host, and today I get the pleasure of sitting down with a good friend of mine, Adam Smith with Mediagistic. Adam, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I don't know if you watched any of our shows, but this is nothing more than connection. So if you're out there watching and you're wondering, hey, why is Will Basko talking to anybody in the first place? Well, it's about connecting. It's about putting people together. So that's what I want to do. So if you're out there and you're wanting to learn more about what me and Adam are talking about today, by all means, click the button. Always click the subscribe button and the like button, and then reach out to me with all my connections, or in the body, Adam will have all of his information as well. So if you have any questions, or if you want to be affiliated with Adam and his team, by all means, just click the button, man. So again, man, thanks for your time today, Adam. Well, we're just going to, like I told you earlier, it's just going to be two guys talking. We're going to talk about you, talk about Mediagistics, what you can do to help the contractor and distributor out there. So let's open things up, man. Tell us a little bit about Adam. I mean, I know that I've known you probably for, I guess, about 8 years now.
Probably.
And we've been rubbing elbows at tons of events, and you've always been super friendly to me. So I appreciate your friendship more than anything.
Likewise.
But, yeah, tell us about Adam, man. How did you get to where are you born? Where are you raised? I know you got a pretty cool story.
Yeah, appreciate it. So I'll start presently and kind of work my way backwards. I'm based in Tampa, Florida. I'm a dad. I have a son who's a freshman, another son who's in 6th grade, Dylan and Landon. I'm engaged, so I'm getting married this year in a couple months. So yeah, excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Looking forward to that. And then, background wise, my dad worked for the government. So I grew up in Germany. I grew up in a city, it's about an hour south of Frankfurt, called Heidelberg. So I did like kindergarten through senior year in Germany. I went to school on a U.S. military base there. It was a fantastic experience. Loved every minute of it. I had the chance to take my kids now twice. We went this past summer and then a few summers before that. So getting them, show them where dad grew up and, the backgrounds on my computer and, all that kind of stuff was a lot of fun. I went to school in Maryland. My undergraduate degree is in sports management. Because like when you're 18 years old, they're like, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't know. I like sports.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Yeah.
And that was the best I could come up with. So I got a degree in sports management. I spent about 5 years. It's called Towson University. It's just north of Baltimore in Maryland. Spent about 5 years in Maryland and then I moved to Florida. And, as far as like advertising and marketing goes, this is like pretty much my first job. I got very, very lucky in that when I was about 24 years old or so, I got hired here at Mediagistic. So I had, last year was my 20-year anniversary working for Mediagistic. And at the time we had a sports marketing division. So that was really like my objective was while I got hired, more on like the co-op side, we were working at the time with Husqvarna, like they manufacture chainsaws and, calling those dealers and trying to help them with advertising. That was my first role. And I was trying to weasel my way over to the sports marketing side and dabbled in that a little bit, but Mediagistic kept growing and, the owner's been great to me. It's been a wild ride. I kind of joke, I said, I'm like literally and figuratively grown up in this organization.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know you've been there for quite a while. You do a phenomenal job everywhere I go. If I meet somebody from Mediagistics, of course I name drop and they're like, oh, we love Adam. I've never heard anybody say, I can't stand that guy. So you do a phenomenal job over there.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. So you go to college, you get out of college, you land a job with Mediagistics. Now, when you were in Maryland at the time, so did they move you to Tampa or
No.
Okay.
No. At the time, my folks still lived in Europe. Like I moved to Maryland to go to school. And when I was done, I was young. I liked Maryland. I didn't love it. And it was kind of like, what's next? So kind of picked up, packed up my car and took next to nothing and moved to Florida.
Yeah. I mean, why not?
Exactly. Yeah. I had an aunt and uncle that were living in Florida and I went and visited them at Christmas. And I was like, oh, this is pretty nice. I didn't realize like necessarily how hot it got in the summer. That was a little adjustment. Period. But been here since.
Yeah, we got some cousin-in-laws that live in Baltimore, so when you're at snow down here, so I'm originally from South Georgia. I've seen snow like maybe 4 times in my life. So
Gotcha.
I shot them a picture of our snow, and he called me and he said, "Hey, if you ever send me pictures of snow, Imma come down there and kill you." I'm like, "But it's pretty cool." He said, "Do I ever send you pictures of sunshine?" I'm like, "Well, good point."
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Mediagistics. What you guys do, how you can help contractors, all that. Just keep talking, man.
All right, fair enough. Much like yourself, I think that's right up my alley. So we're a full service advertising agency. So we support contractors of all sizes with really anything that they need. So we have full suite digital. We can build websites. We're a Google Premier partner, PPC, GLSA, Meta, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. And then we also have a full service media department. So whether it's like traditional radio, television, cable, connected television, billboards, bus shelters. We've done bus wraps for clients before that drive around a city with their logo and branding information on it. Anything and everything as it relates to advertising, we can help with postcards, newsletters. I'm just like racking my brain. Like I can't think of anything that we don't do really.
Yeah, anything that drives people to that company.
Awareness and leads.
Absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely. So how long has Mediagistics been in business?
We started in 1999.
Okay,
So
so
been
okay.
around for a while, predominantly in the co-op space. So like I mentioned earlier, I worked with Husqvarna. Same idea as how we work with a lot of, contractors now, where it's like you promote the OEM and you promote their business in conjunction. And, the OEM helps pay. Back with Husqvarna, it was no different. It was Will's Mower Shop. Go there to buy a new Husqvarna chainsaw. We've had a lot of different clients kind of in that space. It lends itself to, franchise as well, because it's kind of a similar model, maybe not exact, but similar to where you have like, kind of corporate dollars that need to get disseminated. And there's brand integrity, brand guidelines that have to be followed, all that kind of stuff. And then a couple odds and ends clients. We've worked in travel and tourism a little bit. Couple other, like I think a restaurant here or there, but mostly, I would say mostly HVAC. My job for the last 20 years, 95% of it has been distributors, dealers, and manufacturers in HVAC.
Well, that was my next question. If you still dabble in all those other verticals, or is it just heavy? I know it's heavy HVAC, but are you still chasing anything like the Husqvarnas or
Yeah, so Cub
Will
Cadet.
Power Shop sounds great.
Yeah, Cub Cadet. If you've ever been to Home Depot, they sell their riding mowers, through there. So they sell through local dealerships, and they're a big client of ours. We've worked with them for probably over 15 years. Great client of ours. We work with like Altitude Trampoline Parks. We've worked with and I think we still do the tourism board for the island of St. Lucia.
Okay.
Yep. Help promote the island, get visitors there, get them, booking hotels and excursions and stuff like that. But still, by and large, the bulk of our business is in HVAC.
Yeah. So how is marketing involved in the 20 years you've been there? I know 20 years ago it was probably still a lot of yellow pages, right?
I was gonna say, yeah, that's the one that jumps out to me the most. I would say Yellow Page is a newspaper.
Yeah.
I bought a lot of newspaper. I'm really good when if you ever watch Jeopardy, sometimes they have like the category for newspapers.
Yeah.
Like I'm really good at that. Bought a lot of those for clients over the years. Google paid ads didn't exist when I first started working.
Sure. Yeah.
So a lot of yellow pages, a lot of newspaper, and a lot of direct mail, I would say like early in my career.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of, postcards, newsletters, stuff like that. And we still do that for clients, and it works in certain situations. Digital marketing just lends itself to being so much more hyper focused. The investment that's needed in there versus like postcards. Postcards is a numbers game. You got to mail a lot of them to hopefully get a few opportunities. I guess you could say digital marketing similar, but just those price points are a little bit less. It's been interesting to see the evolution, just within our agency. Like when I first started, we didn't have any digital. We didn't do anything. It was,
Yeah. Yeah.
we were buying radio, we were buying television, we were buying cable, we were buying outdoor, and then a bunch of, production newsletters, postcards, like I said. And as business needs grew, luckily we have a great owner, and he's like, look, if this is a need of our customers, then we need to be able to offer it and we need to grow. And, now our digital team is probably twice the size of our media department because that's become such a large part of our business.
Yeah. And I know mailers and direct mail is still important because I keep getting stuff from heat and air contractors every day.
Yep.
I got one today when I went out there. So I know that's still a value add,
Hmm.
but so with that change from yellow book to the internet, the internet changed everybody's life. And you guys started in 99. I guess you weren't scared of the Y2K. You know,
I wasn't here then. I wasn't. So that was before my time. I started in 2005.
Yeah. So with that, what does it look like for a contractor? I mean, what have you seen the contractor do differently from the yellow pages especially being we're in an industry where there's still a bunch of good old boys that
Hmm.
do not like change, right? They no, I still need the landline.
Yeah.
I still advertise in the phone book, which nobody gets phone books anyway.
Hmm.
So, do you run into that still a lot where people just don't wanna change?
I think it's kind of been, for lack of a better term, beat over their head enough over the last like decade or so to where people have embraced it more. When Google paid advertising PPC search ads first came about, like that was the first time I encountered really that difficult time of trying to get people to transition, right?
Yeah,
I think by now everybody's so used to, their phones and how it works that they kind of understand the need for it because, to use your term, good old boy or not, they're still going online when they need to find something. So they recognize their customers are too.
perfect. So Mediagistics is about brand awareness, but it's also about lead generation, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
We offer both.
yeah, so talk to me and the people that are watching about the difference in those 2 things for a contractor.
Sure. So let me start with the lead generation piece because it's arguably the easiest piece to understand. If we're talking lead generation, it's like I spent X, I got Y from a business perspective. I got this many leads, I got this many sales. Like that's it's a you can correlate the two. I would say like generally pretty easily. Brand awareness is a little bit more abstract and obscure. It's a little bit harder to track, but like I have, and Will, you like you said, we've seen each other around. You've probably seen me give this part of a presentation where I walk through like a soda machine analogy, and
Yep,
it's like somebody wants right, they want their Mountain Dew, and they go up and they put their money in, and they go to press the button, and they realize it's not Mountain Dew, it's Mountain Frost, right? They're both green, they're similar. Dew and Frost are the same thing. One's just colder, right? And there's a lot of trepidation and hesitation. The same thing happens for folks when they go online and they type in air conditioning repair near me and they're presented with 10 options. What makes them select the one that they do oftentimes is that I went to my mailbox yesterday and I got their direct mail, right? I've heard them on the radio. I've seen them on Facebook. That familiarity with the brand does help people convert more. It doesn't happen overnight. When you're talking lead generation, it's like a faucet, right? You spend the money, like you turn it on, the water comes out. But as soon as you turn that money or that faucet off and turn the money off, it's gone. There's very little long-term value in that. Whereas brand awareness and that familiarity, it takes longer to build. But that's why, when we go to the grocery store, we look for Coke and Dr. Pepper instead of Mountain Frost.
sure, sure. And then you look at the price, say, "Hey, this Mountain Frost is $4 cheaper." And then you take it home, you're like, "This stuff's terrible."
Yeah. Yeah. No wonder it was $4 cheaper.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Pay what you get for. So with that, how important is it not to just do one thing? And what I mean by that is the contractor says, "Hey, I'm on a budget and I only want to have a billboard."
Hmm.
Billboard's important because people are driving down there, but at the end of the day, if they don't have an online presence and they can't find them, how many people write down a number when they're riding down the road, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they can
Yeah.
remember a name and say, "Hey, well, Imma Google that," and if they don't find them on Google, how important is that, and then how do you talk to the contractors about the importance of not just putting all your eggs in one basket?
Yeah. So, one of the things that like I'm very prideful of in working here is kind of like our consultative approach. There's no one size fits all answer. I had a boss years and years ago, and he used to use an analogy about like going to the doctor. It's like you wouldn't trust a doctor who tried to diagnose you without taking your temperature and, putting the cuff on your arm and looking in your ears and eyes and nose. Marketing's no different, right? It's like, where are you today? Where are you looking to go? What does your serving area look like? A dealer with 2 or 3 trucks in, where you live in Georgia is going to be probably different than a dealer with 2 or 3 trucks in Houston. What we would recommend, all of those factors have to come into play before you can really start to analyze and say, okay, you can't go from a $0 marketing budget to a $100,000 marketing budget.
Yeah.
How do you stair step your way there? Are you getting enough leads? Are you doing well? Do we need to transition into some branding so we have that familiarity, or do we expand? Do we start with 5 zip codes and then, next year, now we're into 8 or 10 or 12, trying to just grow your footprint slowly, methodically, and just work our way out. It's a question that I'm challenged with often. And I feel like people sometimes think that I'm trying to skirt the answer, but it really is case by case. How big are you? How well do people know you? Are you just getting by, or are leads like dire? You're going to close up shop in 2 weeks. All of those things are going to influence how we would recommend.
Yeah. So it's not just a one size fits all. You come in and you work with the contractor and try to figure out what their best niche would be and what's best for their market.
Correct. Yeah. And there's some, kind of staple traditional like blocking and tackling
Yeah. Sure,
tactics,
yeah. Yeah.
that you need to go through. But yeah, I mean, we go through, whenever we meet with contractors, we call it a discovery process and just really try and learn about their business. That's back to the doctor analogy. That's the cuff,
Yeah.
taking the temperature, doing all those sorts of things. As needed, we meet with our digital teams. We pull in our media specialists. We share with them what we found out. And then, we discuss and debate what we think is going to be best until we come up with something that we think is going to work.
Cool. Question for you that I thought about the other night. So, streaming television and connected television, 2 different whole worlds. Some people still have the cable box.
Yep.
I've cut the cord and I'm a streamer. And I notice that sometimes I get ads to me that are not even in my area,
Interesting.
that are kind of odd. Or vice versa. I'm like, how does this person know that I'm watching somebody in California? How does it do that? So talk to me through that process and how a local business would advertise and what's the best route for them.
So, before I jump into Connected TV, I want to draw the differences, because I used to buy a lot of broadcast TV. So think like your ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, right? And then cable, right? So the huge benefit of Connected TV is when you think about cable, you were historically bound by literal cables that ran in the ground, and they were all predefined territories. Now, as a contractor, and you draw a radius around your business, say, I only want to, drive 25 miles in any direction. That's about as far as I want to go. That's what makes sense for my business. When you look at cable, like, depending on where you're at in that map, you might have to buy 5 or 6 different zones to cover that area, right? And it becomes very, very expensive. One of the benefits of cable was that you could buy smaller subsets of a market, and it was more affordable, right? But now with Connected TV, you can buy zip code by zip code. So you can really be very strategic. And, our job as marketers, I always say, is like to try and minimize or eliminate waste. And waste would be ads that are reaching you for a business in California, like you
Yeah,
just
sure.
described.
Yeah.
Like,
Makes no
it's wasteful. You're not going to buy from them. You're not going to drive there on your way home. That's waste. So a Connected TV really helps us do that. And then also just the targeting capabilities kind of as a whole. What we used to do is try and like retrofit. There's data, Nielsen, everybody's like at least heard of Nielsen and somewhat familiar with it. Nielsen would say, this network and or program has a high concentration of homeowners and people who are affluent and, that maybe are 35 to 64. They would say like, look, it's a high concentration might be 40%, which means 60% is wasted. But that's
Yeah.
how we would buy cable and broadcast TV, was trying to look for pockets, whether it's programs or networks that had high concentrations of those. And that's what we would buy. Now with Connected TV, they're just like filters. Like, I only want homeowners. I only want people that, earn $155,000 household income plus, as an example. With some of our partners, we can only target homes that were built 10 years old or older. So we're staying away from people who are new home builds, their system's only 2 years old, and trying to go for, more replacement for our customers and focus there. So it just allows the dollar to stretch further, allows you to be more effective. And it's a little creepy. Like I've seen ads that like, I didn't even know they made television ads, but I ended up on their website and 2 days later it's in my living room.
Yeah. Yeah. It is scary. That's what's funny is like you just said that, you're targeting people on the age of their home.
We
So
can.
you're literally just, hey, this neighborhood's new. We don't even need to advertise to that. So how do you guys come in and sit down with the contractor? Walk us through that when you're sitting down with a heat and air guy or a plumbing guy and say, how do you decide where his marketing dollars should go? And then how do you sell that to him when he's like, I need, because, most heat and air contractors know exactly what they need, but they never do it. And then they call you and then they tell you what they want. And then you tell them, hey, that's not a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it goes back to that discovery process, just really trying to learn about their business. I think, one of the things that we'll do a good job of in the instance that you just described, where it's like, hey, I really want this.
Mm.
If we go back, we'll investigate, we'll look at it, we'll show them that we don't recommend it, but also why. And I think that's really important. So like, and there's a lot of different factors that can be involved in that. It might be that it creates too much waste. It might be that, you can reach more people in your demographic on Meta at a more affordable cost than you can over here. And it's like, is that give and take worth it? Uh, so I would say at times it can be challenging. A lot of people are very opinionated about marketing. Like there's certain things they love, there's certain things they hate, there's certain things they want to do, there's certain things that they don't want to do. But we have the value of having worked in this industry for a really long time. We work with hundreds and hundreds of contractors across the country, and at some point, if they don't want to listen to us, that's their prerogative. They're a business owner, they're happy to. But most of them, I think, when they're talking to us, recognize that, hey, this isn't my expertise, and let me let go of the reins a little bit and let some folks, take care of it for me who know what they're doing.
Yeah, and you guys are really good at just showing them the value of, hey, this is what we've been doing this for a long time. We know what works and what doesn't work. Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about how big the Mediagistic team is. I mean, how many people do you have? Everywhere I go, it seems like I meet somebody new, and I'm like, oh, you just start? No, I've been here 14.
Yeah,
So
our
and I
tenure is
follow
really
you
good.
guys. And I follow you guys on social media, so looks like you have a lot of fun there with
Yeah.
doing a lot of the good things. It looks like a great company to work for. So tell us a little bit about the team you got over there.
So we're in and around 110 people or so. Um, I like probably 95% of our staff is here in the building in Tampa. We don't really hire much remote at all. And most of the employees that are remote, like I'll just use one example. She worked in the building for probably 12 years and her husband's in the military, got stationed somewhere else, and was like, yeah, you've done a tremendous job for us. You've proven yourself. You're a great employee. You can go work remote, but we don't really hire much remote. It's just more instances like that. So yeah, we're all in and around the Tampa Bay area, and for the most part in the office 5 days a week. I know
Yep,
I
yep. And those people that are out and about, they're just traveling from Tampa to these events that I see them at and work
correct.
shows and
Yeah, working their territories, working with their, distributor and dealer partners.
okay, well, cool, man. That's awesome.
Mhm.
So little plug, tell us where to find Mediagistics.
Mediagistic.com. I do have to correct, it's singular. There's no S on the end. So
Right,
although we do
Walmart.
own both URLs, because you're by no means the first person to throw an S on the end. So technically you could go to mediagistics.com and you will still find us.
Yeah, I'm from the
But yeah,
South. I still say Walmarts and Kroger's.
that's too funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pick your poison. You want to throw the S on it, you'll find us anyways.
Yeah, well, all of that will be in the body of this. So I always do a part of the episode called "I Know a Guy." So, what my superpower is, and what I really enjoy in doing, is when somebody in conversation and you says, "Hey, I really need an electrician or a plumber or somebody that has Super Bowl tickets or whatever." In
Mhm.
my mind, I'm like, okay, this guy's just telling me that he wants me to help him find that. So with that, I do hey, I know a guy that can help you. So yeah, and I always ask every guest to answer this question. Who do you want to meet professionally? So who would help you professionally? And then who do you want to meet personally? And it could be anybody. Um, Tucker Green with CAG, he wants to meet the president.
Okay.
And what's funny is just telling people that story. I've had one guy said, "Hey man, I know a person that works at the White House. Let me see what I can find out." And that's exactly what I want to do. I just want to put people together in a way of, "Hey, I can ask this guy, and 37 people later, I find my answer." So, who do you want to meet professionally first?
hmm I like it. It's like what is it, the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon kind of?
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. The one that comes to mind, I actually met, but not in a professional capacity. It was more so of like me be like pestering him.
Yeah,
Is Simon Sinek. I don't know if you're familiar with Simon Sinek.
I know him. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I saw him in London this past summer. I was on vacation, and actually my fiance saw him. She was like, "Oh my God, that's Simon Sinek." So we ran over and took a picture real quick, but
Yeah.
that was it.
Okay.
But to like kind of pick his brain and learn from him and spend some time, like quality time with him, I think would be really, really cool. So yeah,
Okay.
I'll challenge you on that one. I don't know if that's harder or easier than the president, but it's certainly not easy.
Yeah, well, people out there that know Simon, give us a call.
Mhm.
So on the professional side though, who does Mediagistics need to meet?
So I would say like almost anywhere up and down the spectrum in home services, like because while we specialize in HVAC, we certain electricians, plumbers, like having a couple conversations with some painting franchises. Effectively, their go-to-market strategy is all the same, right? Is like somebody calls them and then they go to their house. While like keywords are different, creative is different, those fundamental blocking and tackling techniques that are necessary to be successful in any of those industries all kind of, they work the same.
Yeah.
So, whether, the distribution level, contractor level, we can help.
Okay. Now personally,
hmm
who would you want to meet personally? Now I will throw out a disclaimer here.
hmm
You are not Mike Norvell, the FSU head football coach, but nobody's ever seen both of y'all in the same room. That's all I'm gonna say.
I have a quick funny story about that. So my fiance's an FSU grad. I'd never been to an FSU game until about 2 years ago.
Okay.
We walking up the stairs to our seats about 10 minutes before kickoff, and some dude like grabs me and goes, "Coach, what the hell are you doing? Get on the field!" And I like, yeah. So
That's
I've
awesome.
definitely heard that one
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
As far as like who I would want to meet personally, that's tough. Growing up in Germany, I was a huge soccer fan. So, if I think about like American soccer stars like Christian Pulisic,
Yeah.
a guy named Clint Dempsey was like kind of my idol growing up, is a
Mhm.
tremendous player. Kind of tried to model the way that I played with his. I think that would be really cool. Seems like a cool guy. Certainly like Ronaldo or Messi, although I don't think
Sure,
that we
yeah.
could relate to each other at all. It would still be, a neat experience. Yeah, those are the ones that kind of like jump out at me, I would say.
Okay, cool.
I'm a fan at heart. Like I love sports, so I think that would be kind of cool.
Okay. Well, anything else you want to add to your first Never Not Working show? Because we're gonna roll this back, in maybe next year, the year after, just to see where we've gotten. If we've met Simon Sinek yet, or Ronaldo or whoever.
You're gonna do
Uh,
your version of Where Are They Now?
Absolutely.
All right, I love it. Yeah, count me in. Just like takeaways, just like how you kicked it off, right? I mean, same idea, trying to help people meet each other. Like if you're listening today and say, like I really need to get a hold of my marketing, or, one of the things that I've found over the years that is really appealing to Mediagistic is because we offer everything. It's like they can work with one of our folks and they'll buy their radio, they'll do their outdoor, they'll manage their website, they'll do their social. As a contractor, like if you're outsourcing all of those, that's a lot to manage, as opposed to just picking up the phone and calling Cara or calling Jen or calling Megan, or, on down the line on our staff, and they can answer questions and help implement kind of all of those facets of your marketing. But, we all go through that discovery process. That recommendation process is no cost to the contractor. If they like what they hear, great. If not, no harm, no foul. So give us a call, give us a shot. And, if you like it, great. If not, we'll wish you the best of luck. And, like Where Are They Now? Maybe we'll try again next year.
Yeah. And if they need a stand-in Mike Norvell for a party, it's
Very
just
good. I'm your guy. I'm your
it's just
guy. I'm
side
not
hustle,
cheap
man.
though.
It's
I'm
just
not cheap
side
though.
hustle, man. Heck no. Well, Adam, again, man, thank you. One, thank you for your friendship. Two, thank you for spending time with me today. Again, Adam is the Vice President of Channel Marketing for Mediagistics based in Tampa, Florida. All of his information will be in the body of this episode. So just click on it, find them. If you don't want to talk to them, but you want to ask me a question, by all means, ask me a question and I'll say, call Adam. But from the bottom of my heart, man, thank you for your time. Then and but we're out, man. As always, I'm Will Basko. Please click the subscribe button and the like button, and so you'll get alerts that on every show that we have. But as always, for Adam Smith and Will Basko, we're never not working.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.